Hello and welcome. We are in a brand new venue for the UCI Enduro World Cup. Welcome to Leogang's Salzburger land. The race marks the first time the Enduro, Downhill and Cross Country World Cups have come together in a single event, and what a place to do it. Leogang is no stranger to World Cup racing, but it's the first time the EDR racers have taken on these famous trails. And they are in for a huge day in the saddle. 6 stages for the Enduro riders and 10 for the e-bike competitors. It was a brutal start to the race as riders left the start line for a 3-hour liaison that would take them to the first stage of the day, the aptly named Proline. It was going to be tight racing on this one at just over 2 kilometres long. Stage 1 was a bike park charge down to the town of Hinterglemm. Although one person who wouldn't be in contention was Jack Moyer, who didn't take the start due to illness.
Normally a 3-hour ride is a pretty decent day out, but only got us to stage 1. It's a hard one to start, it's quite hard to get the flow. It's kind of hard to relax in those high speed berms, but kind of happy it's out of the way and we can get into the chunky stuff now.
Mate, it was dusty. It was just very hard to get the speed, keep the flow, but kind of like pushing soup uphill with a fork.
It's a bit daunting being bumped up into the top group with all the top girls there at the top, but no, hopefully it'll spur me on a bit more, give me a bit more fire in the belly.
Reigning champ Isabel Corderia took the early lead, but it wasn't enough to land her in the top 3. Rafaela Richter was on fine form and bested Corderia by less than 1 second to claim 3rd place. Round 3 winner Morgan Schar was faster still to take 2nd place. But no one could compete with Canyon's Gloria Scarzi.
Excited for this race. I really like the stage. For pushing, it's really hard, a lot of pedaling also.
Fresh from her 2nd place finish in Pietra, Scarzi won the first stage by nearly 3 seconds to take the lead. In the men's race, Ibis's Cole Lucas took the early lead, but his time of 3 minutes 19 seconds wouldn't be enough to hold off a charging flat pedal beast Alex Rideau, with the Frenchman crossing the stage finish in 3rd place. Slavomir Lukasik finished a fraction faster to land him in 2nd.
I was in the zone, but bike park's not there's just nothing to it, so I just brake checked a little bit too much in certain things, but it's a good start, so I'm in touch, which is all I really wanted to do, so the next ones will suit me a lot more, and looking forward to those ones.
But Rhys Werner cemented his breakout season with the stage win, relegating series leader Jesse Melamed to 4th.
Corners are a lot more blown out than practice, so maybe on the safer side, but I don't know. It's good to start the day. It was a really long transfer, and it's 2:30 now, and we just did our first stage, so it's kind of hard to get ramped back up, but should be well into it now.
And here's how the men's race is stacking up after stage 1, with Werner out front and with work to do for reigning champ Melamed, who was back in 10th. Stage 2 would be one of the steepest in the race, dropping a chunky 460 metres and nearly 4 kilometres in length. It was where both Jesse Melamed and Isabel Corderia said in the pre-event press conference they believed the race could be won or lost. Pivot Factory Racing's Morgan Schar was the first to fall foul of the stage's notorious tech, crashing near the start and bending her bars in the process. But it didn't cost her too dearly. She still finished in 3rd.
I just crashed in a really stupid corner. Yeah, but then there is a lot of roads, a lot of rocks, and I think it's quite easy to get a mechanical on this kind of track.
Elsewhere, there was a disaster for Chloe Taylor. Her first race in the top women's field, and it would be ended by a mechanical.
Got to the bottom, tried to put a tube in, tube went down, so that's bike racing, unfortunately.
Stage 1 winner Gloria Scarzi backed it up with a second place finish on Stage 2, despite cracking her rim on the way down. But it was Isabelle Corderier's turn to stomp her dominance on the rest of the field, winning the stage by an unbelievable 11 seconds.
I was maybe not going 100% all the time to save a bit of my arm, and maybe that was helpful, but it's also the type of stage I really like.
The stage results reflected the overall standings, with Stage 2 going to Cordurier, who now led the race by 6 seconds, with Scarzi in second and Schär in third. The long technical track was catching riders out, including some big names.
One section that I really liked, all the media was there, and I was like, okay, like, just let it eat, and it was good, and then I just started swapping. Overconfident, think I could just turn into the corner, so I just like, yeah, crossed my bars and went over the front.
In the men's race, Ewan Deneau of Giant put in a strong showing, and he was rewarded with fourth. And despite this moment on Stage 2, Alex Rudeau would go a second faster to take third. But Rhys Werner went faster and slotted into second place. Slavomir Lukasic had a disaster on the first corner. A mechanical would see him limping his way down the stage.
I wasn't sure what I should do, if I should continue or not, but cruise down was pretty sketchy. But yeah, that's the racing.
However, Yeti Fox teammate Richie Rude was having better luck and would take Stage 2 by 5 seconds. That win was enough to hand Rude the race lead, pushing Werner into second and Rudeau into third with 4 stages left to go. And here's how the results are looking after 2 stages, with podium contenders Melamed and Schär both crashing and losing time as a result. Stage 3 would be the biggest test of the day for the Enduro racers, a 4-kilometre long monster of a stage, dropping all the way from the high Alpine some 708 metres down to Saalbach and the valley floor. Isabelle Corderrier would complete the energy-sapping stage in 8 minutes 42 seconds, but it was only enough to be rewarded with third place. Morgan Schär was able to shake off that Stage 2 crash to take second. But it was Italy's Gloria Scarzi who went the distance to take her second stage win of the day, by just 0.3 seconds. And that Stage 2 win was enough to keep Isabeau in the race lead. But with Gloria Scarzi now just 5 seconds back at the halfway point, this race was far from over. Morgan Schär rounded out the top 3, but was now over 17 seconds adrift, with 3 stages left to go. And the men's race, Richie Rude continued to make use of the immense power at his disposal, muscling his way to a third place finish.
Yeah, Stage 2 was good. It was pretty rough and I felt pretty tired at the bottom, but I had a good stage and won that one, so stoked on that. And had a clean Stage 3. Didn't feel like that great on it per se, like speed-wise. It was good and it was safe, so yeah, heading back to Leogang now.
Forbidden's Rhys Werner would go even faster to take second on the stage. Series leader Jesse Melamed continued to find form as the race progressed, winning stage 3 but only by the slimmest of margins, just a single second ahead of Werner. It wasn't enough to displace Werner from the top of the leaderboard. With 3 stages left to go, he led the race by 2 seconds, but with the ever-present threat of 2-times champ Ruud behind him in second place. Alex Ruud was a further 6 seconds back in third, and just a tenth of a second behind him was series leader Jesse Melamed in fourth. The stage was set for a dramatic second half to an already thrilling race amongst Leogang's towering peaks. Meanwhile, over in the e-bike race, riders had just reached the halfway stage of their race and were through stage 5. In the women's competition, it was none other than Tracy Moseley who drew first blood when she took the opening stage of the day by just 1 second ahead of Orbea's Flo Espinera. Former champ Laura Charles had a shocking start to the day, finishing herself 15 seconds back after stage 1. The Miranda team rider was never going to settle for that low and rallied on the following stage to find herself sitting in third at the halfway point in the race. By this point, Timo had dropped to second in the overall standings. Flo Espinera having won stages 2, 3, 4 and 5 to take full control of the race and put herself 20 seconds to the good as the race entered its final stages. In the men's race, it was Miranda Factory Racing's Tiago Ladeira who came out swinging on the first stage, winning the stage by less than half a second ahead of fellow Portuguese competitor Emmanuel Pombo in second. Kevin Mari would round out the top 3. However, Ladeira's reign was to be short-lived, with Andrea Garibo and Kevin Mari both on a flyer and leapfrogging him in the overall. Italy's Garibo would finish stage 5 sitting in third place and Mari moving up into second. However, none of them could compete with a resurgent Fabian Burrell. After a disappointing stage 1, Burrell put the power down to win stages 3 and 4, which was enough to see him go into the second half of the race with a commanding 20.4 second lead. And here then is how the e-bike results are looking with 5 stages left in the monster of a race course. Back to the regular enduro bikes and a quick pit stop for the riders at the technical assistance zone, and then it was a short blast down stage 4. Morgan Schär and leader Isabel Cordurier put down impressive times, but it was Rafaela Richter who took the win. With both stages left to go, it was still Isabel Cordurier who led the race, but only 7 seconds ahead of Gloria Scarzi in second place. Morgan Schär rounded out the top 3, but with 18 seconds to find on the final 2 stages of the day. In the men's competition, Rhys Werner came out on top on stage 4, taking his second stage win and propelling him into the overall lead in the process. There was no room for relaxation though, with Richie Ruud just 5 seconds back in second place and Alex Ruud now 10 seconds back in third. In the e-bike race, it was the women who crossed the finish line first. The second half of the race saw Canyon Collective's Ines Toma find her form and win 4 of the 5 stages. But it wasn't enough to bag her the win. Tracy Moseley's strong performance in the first half of the race saw her rewarded with third place. In contrast, Ines Toma played the long game and her race only got better as the stages went on. The strategy paid off and she found herself on the second step of the podium. But no one could touch reigning champion Flo Espinera of Orbea Fox Enduro team, whose consistency more than paid off as she took her first win of the season.
It was hard to keep like the concentration for all the stages. There were plenty, and during almost 10 hours from start to finish, but at the end of the day, yeah, everything went well.
Meanwhile, the EDR men were also home safe after an eventful final 5 stages. Alexander Fayol, Kevin Marie and Alex Marin all took a stage win apiece. Mick Hanna had a solid day. He ended up taking the second spot on the podium. But no one could stop Fabian Burrell. He won the final 2 stages of the day, finishing the race ahead of the rest by an unbelievable 27 seconds. Mick Hanna proved the capabilities of the new prototype Shimano drive unit when the Getty rider finished the race in second place, while Tiago Ladera of Miranda Factory Team took third.
Wasn't planned to race. The goal was really to only do the first one and show up the bike, and was great success, etc. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do the second one and go. And it kind of worked out. I challenged myself a lot in the morning and tried to attack, and you work out again. So yeah, I guess I'm going to have to sign up for the third one as well. So it's pretty cool.
Back to the Enduro race, and stage 5 was the penultimate of the race. Morgan Schär took third place, just as she had on the previous stage. But it was Trek's Harriet Harnden who found some extra speed. The British rider managed a top 10 finish in her first downhill World Cup less than a week earlier, and was back to flexing her enduro muscles to take second place on the stage. But no one could touch Isabelle Courdurier. She won the stage by 4 seconds. With just 1 stage left to go, Isabelle Courdurier led the race by an impressive 15 seconds. Gloria Scarzi was hanging on in second place, while Morgan Schär was a further 8 seconds back in third. In the men's race, Charlie Murray of Specialized made his mark on the race by taking a third place finish on stage 5. A consistent couple of stages from him saw him jump up the rankings. However, one man sliding down the overall was the series leader, Jesse Melamed. Losing his chain saw him fall outside of the top 10 on the penultimate test. Richie Rude pushed hard. A second place on the stage meant he had now closed the gap to Werner to just 2 seconds. But it was Alex Rudeau who claimed the stage 5 victory by less than half a second ahead of Rude. With just 1 stage left in the race, Alex Rudeau sat third in the overall. Richie Rude was second, and it was Rhys Werner who led the overall. But with just 2 seconds between Werner and Rude, Rhys had a job of work to do on the final stage if he was to take his first UCI Enduro World Cup win. It all came down to this. The famous downhill track, with crowds lining the sides, would decide the race. Could Werner fend off Rude and Rudeau for his first ever UCI World Cup win? Could Isabelle Courdurier hold on to the top spot and regain the lead in the overall?
It's a weird spot to be in leading into the last stage. I've never been here before, but kind of a good nervous, I think, excited, and yeah, hopefully finish off strong.
It's a downhill track. It's really fast, so keep the speed and we arrive at the last.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. Now it's a bit late to finish a day, so it's almost 8 and we are going into the last one. It's a short one, so you want to avoid mistake on this one, I guess, and yeah, just looking forward to be done.
Yeah, I think we're having a good back 9. Get it home safe, but we can't slack. We've got to still keep the throttle wide open.
Yeah, just an unfortunate mechanical, which is too bad because I was really turning my day around and trying to fight for the podium, and I was pushing, and I felt like I was riding pretty well, so these things happen.
It's been some hairy moments, just pushing a lot today. Loving the tracks here, a bit steeper than the last round, and yeah, just in the mountains, so it's epic.
With less than a kilometre left to race, the famous Finnish bull of Leogang awaited. Melanie Poujan took her best result of the day with a third place finish. Rafaela Richter had been strong all day and came second on the last stage, securing her fourth in the overall. Morgan Schär would win the stage and earned herself third place on the podium. All eyes went to the top of the hill. Could Isabeau hold off Gloria Scarzi? The Lapierre Zip Collective rider had done it. She took her second win of the year, and with it, the series lead.
It's been pretty tough to manage, but I knew I had to push really hard on stage 2 because it was the one that suited me the most and the one I wanted to. Yeah, if I had a chance, it was on this one, so I'm super happy I could put a good time on this one and then manage my day trying not to make too many mistakes and crash in the bike park.
The top 30 men were the last to drop into the stage. Riding consistently, Charlie Murray held on to the position in the overall. He would finish the race in fourth. Just 3 racers were left at the top of the stage. Rudeau had a solid run. The fans waited as just 2 men were left to drop in. Not many riders can beat Richie Rude in a straight-out charge down the hill, but Rhys Verner had done it. He won the last stage by 0.71 seconds to Lukasic and 0.77 to Rude.
Honestly, a pretty sick day start to finish. Like, started good, kind of won the first stage, and besides stage 5, I think I was either first or second. I don't know about the last stage, but yeah, just like solid, consistent day, and yeah, it feels pretty unreal to actually put it together.
So there we have it. Here's the final results from the 4th round of the UCI Enduro World Cup. Isabeau Courdurier takes her second win of the season ahead of the seriously impressive Gloria Scarzi. Morgan Schär was 3rd, Rafaela Richter was 4th, and Hattie Harnden was 5th. In the elite men's race then, Rhys Verner tastes victory for the first time in his enduro career ahead of Richie Rude, Alex Rudeau, Charlie Murray and the superb Dan Booker. And in the overall then, Isabeau Courdurier takes control of the 2023 points leaders jersey. And in the men's race, Richie Rude hangs on to his overall points leaders jersey in what is looking like a promising charge to his 3rd title.
Getty Factory Race Team!
We'll be back next week when we head to Italy for round 5 of the UCI Enduro World Cup in Val di Fassa, Trentino.